the spot. I got what it takes to get to the top. The money I make, these niggas cannot compete. They know that I'm getting a lot. She give me the twat. Give me that. It come to that pussy, I'm getting a lot. I know she a thought to give her a shot. I front from the back to the twist in my side. You know that I'm.
What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Joey, aka Mr. Made You Look. My wonderful co-host AD, go ahead, take it away.
Let's go, beautiful people. It's your boy, the GOAT of Solar, aka Mr. Made You Great. Back at it again. We're here gonna give you guys some heat, some value. We have some super cool guests today. I'm super excited for them to share their story. We have a platform here for people to come on and share their story, but we want to make sure it's a platform with purpose. These are some people that Joey knows a little bit better than me. So Joey, do you want to introduce them?
I would love to introduce them. We are here at episode 15 at Made You Look Studios, the Made You Listen podcast. Today we have two wonderful guests, two inspiring dudes. Known them for about a year now, but they're just a couple of those guys or people where you meet them and your energy just align. From the second we met, we kind of clicked. I love what they're doing. I've been blessed and fortunate to have had a front row seat to watch them build what they've been building for the last year, and knowing that this is just the beginning is super exciting. I'm super excited to have them on. Quick disclaimer, this is a part 2, technical difficulties from part 1, but everything we do, if we do it again, we do it better.
Hell yeah.
So without further ado,
that.
My boys, people I like to consider friends at this point, my guy Sawyer, my boy Brendan from Greenestone Studios.
Let's go.
Introduce yourselves, guys. Thank you for coming on.
How's it going, y'all? It's Sawyer.
Green, what up?
What up?
Let's go.
Oof. The intros is always I feel like I gotta script the intros. I be fumbling a little bit here and there.
Nah, that was eloquent.
That was eloquent? I felt like it was cool up until I got to the end, but it's okay.
That's all love.
So Sawyer, Brendan, you guys want to talk about Greenestone real quick? I mean, they run a store in North Main. I want you guys to just talk about what it is, what you guys do briefly about the store, and then we'll get into what you guys did individually, and then back to Greenestone. So if you guys want to give a quick little elevator pitch about what Greenestone is, what you guys do day to day, let the viewers know who don't know who you guys are, kind of what it is you guys are about.
Cool, yeah. Greenestone Studios is a curated vintage store as well as the flagship for Brendan's brand, Greenworks. On top of this, it's also an artist collective. We encourage young entrepreneurs, creatives, artists of any kind to come through, interact with the space, host a pop-up on a weekend, get to see how their work is interacted with, in a retail setting. We're really just a spot for the community. It's the bottom line.
Fire. Love it.
I love that.
Brendan?
Yeah, I mean, all of that. For sure, I think, we definitely, we try to be a community space. All the Greenworks clothes are made in-house at our, flagship store in Providence. So if you have the privilege of pulling up to Greenestone, you can walk into our screen printing studios where we're printing all of our T-shirts, and you can watch that process and learn about it. And you can also go back into our sewing studio and see how all that shit's made as well.
Let's go. I love that.
I love that. No. Greenestone, I can speak from my experience, and we'll get into it later because I want Adrian to touch upon it. You just was there for the first time about a week and a half ago. I've been there probably, a handful of times.
Yeah,
10 dozen
times.
A dozen times at this point.
And every time I pull up, which is what I love about it, or one of the things I love about it is that it's improved. It could be the most minimal thing. From day one, I walked in, I'm like, this shit's fire. And before we get into y'all, I just really want to preface, how fire it is, and no glazing or nothing, but I didn't know you guys. Day one, shout out Neutron, he pulled up, he came home with a bag of goodies. He had
Shout
the fucking, the Friendlies tee. He's like, yo, these dudes are fire, bro. You gotta go pull up. I copped some merch. I was with Uris. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm gonna go see what these kids is about. I walk in, and these two dudes are just mad cool. And I was just thinking about this today on the way over here, or earlier today, because I went to go pick up some shoes. And I'm not gonna say the store because I don't want to bash nobody, but I go to the store a lot, and the owner of the store, mad cool.
I know that store.
You know the store. And we can talk about it off camera, but he's mad cool. He knows who I am. Every time I come in, it's all love. He's like, oh, how you been? Blah, 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 you're my guy. But they got 3 locations. And when he's not there, they have a few of the people that run the store. Very standoffish. And in retail and anything, it's all about customer service. Absolutely. And so very standoffish, kind of it doesn't do anything. And it's not like I don't need you to be my best friend, but it's like, bro, like curate a vibe, especially when the vibe that was set by the guy who built this place up is one that is very welcoming, one that's very warm, and like it makes you want to go back. My point is that with y'all, off the rip, it was like, I don't know you, you don't know me, but it was like, what's going on? It was like, you know what I mean? It was cool as fuck. I walked in. I'm not even like a big thrift guy. I've never been a big thrift dude, but like Brendan's pieces were fire. I can appreciate, you know, vintage clothing, even though it might not be like my lane of fashion or whatever, but even down to like the baseball cards, like it's just a different vibe. They're two very cool dudes. They've created something special. And so my point of just bringing all this in is that like from day one when I met them, I had no horse in the race. There was nothing that I didn't need to come back. It wasn't like, nah, like you weren't clients or anything. I walked in, it was cool. They were good people, good vibes. And you know what I'm saying? Here we are a year later. So that's my Greenestone experience.
Appreciate that, bro.
And I appreciate y'all. Again, I'm gonna have Adrian touch upon his because he just went in there for the first time a week and a half ago.
Right.
But before we delve into the space that is Greenestone and the community and just the overall fucking brand, collective, empire, whatever you guys want to, you can't fit this into it's not a store. This is a community.
Right, it's
I
different,
want
it's
you
its own lane.
to each individually talk about your journeys that led to Greenestone. You know, Sawyer, you have never missed thrift. Brendan, Greenworks, fucking fire clothing brand. 3 out of 4 of us are rocking it, right? You got the shorts on, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell
They don't
yeah.
know about these.
You know what I'm saying? So whoever wants to start, just kick off kind of a little bit about your personal brands, the journey that, you know, started entrepreneurship and then leading up to Greenestone, where we're at now.
Yeah, sure. You want me to go? Yeah, so where should
Shout
I
out
start
Sock Monkey,
at?
my bad, go ahead.
Where should I start at? I could start. Well, so I really, I decided to take clothing seriously about halfway through college. I was at Providence College. Am I looking at you?
You look at me, look at the camera, don't matter. Speak up a little bit. Speak up a
Silly
little bit.
question. Okay. I'll restart that, so we'll cut it.
No, we good. Don't worry. It's raw. It's vibes over here.
All right.
Baby, we in the
I'm
moment.
flowing.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm in college, basically, you know, classic. I was just like kind of reached a point where I was like, shit, like, wasn't really happy with what was going on. I was going through a breakup. Homies were drinking a lot. I saw an opportunity to pour a lot of my time and energy into something creative, not really knowing what it was going to be yet. I met some good people. I met Caden Vogt, Elliot Cronin in college, people that I worked with who, you know, inspired me to kind of just like, you know, even if you're in a school like PC where it's not like the artsiest community, like I was blessed to find my people, you know, even if, you know, we were small in numbers, it was good. Like, you know, I was kind of in a place where I was just going to the studio and I had a studio space at school. I was going to the studio my senior year, which is like, you know, I'm kind of flash forwarding a little bit. I started printing T-shirts in my dorm room, you know, grew it to where I was I was an art student, so I got my art studio in the art building, and once I got my art studio, it changed everything, and I was really, you know, I had my first shirt go viral, and I sold like 100 units on the mask shirt, and like a lot of those were, you know, friends, family, people around campus, but it was the first time I tasted like, you know, random people on the Shopify and like, you know, the label printer just going and shit like that. And I was hooked from there.
So backtrack a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Shopify 100 sales. I want you to like touch upon a little bit like the beginning, because you spoke last time about, you know, doing shit in your room with your roommate.
Yep. Yeah. So like, you know, I was kind of in a place where rather than going to, you know, the bar, you know, and like going to drink with the homies, like I was just me and my homies were going to the studio and just like, you know, bringing a 6-pack, locking in on, I feel like, you know, we were pretty self-aware of like what we were trying to like do at that time, and trying to just develop, you know, like looked up to certain people who were making clothes, we knew if we started with screen printing, and we had a real control over our process rather than just like being like, I want to get into clothes for money. You got to learn how to like make clothes. So from there, you get a sewing machine at Michael's, and you're you're sewing in your room, and just getting to a point where we're making full garments, and that's we were talking briefly before about like if I would recommend college or not, and I think it's like it's like I saw a lot of people waste their college years and their experiences. Right. I think college is perfect for people who know what they want to do, and if it's not a 4-year drinking vacation on daddy's dime. It's fucking it's time to make connections, and it's time to meet people, and it's time to figure out what you want to get better at. And this is a low stakes time to get better at it. Like I used campus as like my marketing playground. Like I was putting talk about it. Stickers. Yeah. I would I'd go around on like a Sunday or like a night where I was up late, or on a Saturday night, whatever, and I'd try to put stickers on every trash can on campus. And there were certain buildings like the administrative building or like admissions, and like those stickers got taken next day. But there were certain ones that would build up, and because I'd go hit those spots, like I'm going to class and I'm like, admissions, like, and what are they gonna fucking do? Like, my Instagram's on there. If you want to find me, you could find me, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, I'm doing my thing out here, like, right. And I did like a t-shirt drop for the homeless when I was in college, which was really cool. I felt also like, being at a school like PC, you see a lot of kids who come to Providence and don't really like fucking, don't have any idea. We're right next to Chad Brown. Like, we're a baseball's throw from Chad Brown, and like these kids have no concept of like anything that's going on over there. And it's just like, I'm someone who, I went to boarding school and played sports growing up, and at a young age I feel like I was exposed to like culture, and like that's I think you gotta yeah, it's definitely a blessing, and yeah, and I think it's always something you got to be aware of, and especially when you're moving to a new place, and I loved Providence College, but it's like, and I think Providence College does a lot for the community too, but like a lot of those students are unaware of what's going on. So like I think for me to like I could bring awareness to that, and also a lot of those students could. So basically, I did like 100 T-shirts at $30 each, and they had like a picture of this like dope homeless guy that I thought was like, bringing. He was like, just good vibes. Yeah, good vibes. I would see him. I'd bring him like a case of water, and I'd chat with him, and he was like kind of like he was also kind of a part of a movement that was going on in Providence. Like he had been interviewed, and he was like standing up like for like homeless people's rights, because all of our shelters were full, but he was getting like display, like he was had set up a tent in front of the Capitol building, but they like tried to displace him, and he was like where do you want, like he was like standing up for he was just like someone who was doing his thing, and like he was a figure, and I there was conversation surrounding it, and I thought that we make 100 T-shirts, make $3,000. I'm a college student. I don't need that money. I lost money because the T-shirts cost $600 to make. So I basically donated $600. Everybody else, contributes the rest of that $3,000 with purchases, and we did it all to the House of Hope in Providence, Rhode Island.
Wow.
Yeah, it was lit.
Powerful.
That's what I'm talking about. Just good people.
Service.
Good people. And I want to, before you continue, I just want to
I think I got most of it.
Nah, there's a couple things I want you to touch upon again. Because you went through a lot last time, and I want you to get back on there.
Sure, yeah, but you said we had to.
No, I know, but you don't get
timely.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't be too hell bent on it. The fact we didn't talk about it the last time, because I went to Temple. Yeah. I don't know if either of you have been to Temple.
No, yeah, sure.
Temple is, when I explain Temple's environment to people over here, it's the same. Imagine if PC was surrounded by Chad Brown. Like Chad Brown's not just on one side, it's surrounded by it. That's Temple. And so the same way, like I grew up in Providence, I went to public high school and middle school, so like similar to you, I was like exposed early to, you know, just Providence. And so I went to Temple, and these kids are like 3 a.m, walking around screaming, wailing, drunk, like in the middle of the neighborhood. I'm like, you guys are out of pocket, first of all. It's like people are just so like unaware. And I love that you came to Providence. Not only were you aware of that, but like you just took the extra step and were like, I'm gonna do what I can to, you know, add to the community, uplift it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just gonna like, you know, point at these kids and laugh. I'm gonna fucking do something about it. And I think that speaks to your character. You know what I'm saying? I try to surround myself with people that not only talk about shit, but also do it. You know, walk the walk. So good for you, bro. I salute you. I commend you. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, we've talked about doing community service through like this platform. You know, I think the 4 of us can probably cook some crazy shit up in the future. My boy Tyreek too. I said, whatever. The best thing about this is like whatever we do, bro, it's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a movie. We're gonna turn it into a movie.
Bro, I mean, you know, that's why we're here.
Exactly.
You know, we could be, you know, making more money running pop-ups on the road, like building and being in Providence is important to us, and you know, it's our ethos. Like we're here for the community. Like we're not here to penny pinch. We're not here to make that extra $5 or $10 off you. We're here to provide a service to the community and build with all the dope creative people that, you know, are out here.
Hell yeah. And I think just the amount you guys have built in a year is just a testament to you guys and you standing on that ethos, standing on that business. And I mean, similar to me and him, the whole reason we made the podcast, and we talked about it in the last episode, is that like we want to be able to build a platform to then shine light on people who don't have a platform, specifically in Providence. Yeah, sure. And so that's why for like that 6-month hiatus, we weren't posting, we weren't recording, because it wasn't to the standard of like, I don't want to bring people on yet. I want it to be right when we start doing it. And that's why we're here again. You know what I'm saying? I could have just been like, fuck it, chalk it up to the game or move on to the next one. But it's like, nah, like I believe in what you guys are building. I want to share what you guys have. And just, you guys are just, you know what I'm saying? We want to add to the community and the platform and just build this thing up so that in return, we can do the same thing. Like we're not making any money off this shit. It's like, obviously we don't have a huge following on the podcast right now, but the goal is, you know, build something up so that whatever we want to do, we have to bring somebody on who's up and coming, donate something. It's just we have the viewers, the followers, people that believe in us and what we're doing, and the people we bring on, so that if we bring you guys on, we're doing a drive. Everybody we got following, oh yeah, fuck it, we fuck with these guys, let's fuck with them. If they, you know what I mean? So, and I love that you guys are coming to Providence to do that, because people leave Providence. That's like people here are like, no, we gotta either get up and leave or get up and build Providence up. And you guys moved into Providence and we're like, we're gonna make this home base. Yeah, and we're gonna fucking, you know, dig our toes in.
I think, you know, there's no denying we saw it as like a business opportunity, as like a, you know, a streetwear brand, a clothing brand, a place that has a flagship, you know, that, you know, sees all those people, you know what I mean? And like all those people like come to engage with us because, you know, they're like us, they are us, you know what I'm saying? So like, I feel really good about that. And I think, you know, as we, you know, like I've said, like as we expand, like we have very like high aspirations for like where we see ourselves expanding. But, you know, there's no, like, you know, there's just no, leaving Providence isn't an option. Like, you know, I feel like I feel like we, you know, we're blessed, you know, like you see that Stussy hoodie with like New York, Paris, Tokyo, you know, like we got Providence on there, like, and a lot of people don't have Providence. Like, I feel like, you know, and that's like our hitter, like that's us. Like, you know, like Carpet Company is a really dope skateboard company who's like, they built out of like Baltimore, I believe, and like that's their hometown, and like, you know, they really fucking put on for Baltimore, and like I want to, you know, I grew up skating, like like I love the community that a skate brand can draw in, especially when they have, you know, a flagship and, you know, that skate shop vibe, that like, you know, first Supreme location vibe, and like you know, it doesn't get better than that. And like it's the antithesis of, you know, what you described, where, you know, I'm so, if I ever get word of like an employee of mine like mean mugging behind the counter, like it's just, I'm not a dick. Like that person gets fired on the spot. And it's just like, that doesn't happen in my store. Like it's just, it is so the opposite of what we stand for. And it's, I think once you allow things like that to happen, you're
diluting what makes you Greenestone.
Your community.
Because you guys are in the store.
Your community's gonna realize that, and we're not a store. We're, you know,
a vibe.
It's green and stone.
Yeah.
Like it's us.
Green and stone.
End it right there.
Like that.
Before I get to you, Sawyer, real quick, the only thing I want you to touch upon again is just, so you started off by printing shirts in your dorm room. Senior year, you took advantage of. I wanted to point out again real quick, because our second or third episode was about the benefits of going to college. At that time, I hadn't graduated yet, but like I was a senior in college and he never went to school, and just kind of like the different perspectives on it. And so I think if you do end up going to school and you're, you know, a walking example, I think Sawyer, again, you can speak on it a little bit too when we get to you, is just to like take advantage, especially at a big school like PC, Clemson, Temple.
If you don't know why you're there, take a gap year, take 2. Go get, you know, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I played sports pretty seriously for a while, so I like repeated earlier. I repeated like my 8th grade of high school, you know, 8th grade of whatever. Yeah. But, you know, so that made me be like, you know, I'm not trying to like take a gap year. I'm not trying to repeat. I'm not trying to be like younger than everyone else, trying to finish later than everyone else. But like, you know, this shit costs money. Like, you know, who are we? Like, there's all this. There's just like the illusion of, like, you know, a lot of kids get out of college and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they don't. You know, it's like, why did you rush through that? But you're just as, you know, you're still at square one. Like, it's just a lot of you know, you gotta, you know, go to a college like Northeastern where you can like get internships all along the way and figure out what you want to do, and like even just like take 2 years off, go, you know, get a couple jobs. My dad would always say the best way for you to like figure out what you want to do is like just get a shitty job and like, you know, wash dishes, and you're gonna sit there all day thinking about shit you'd rather be doing. Exactly.
But my point more, and like, yes, but I mean more so like, even if you came, even like today, you did nothing with clothes. Sure. You went to school and like, you tried something, as in like the Greenworks brand, you started it, and not only did you try it, but like you smacked stickers up all around campus. You created, like, you reached out to the community that you had in college. At the end of the day, is one fat ass community of just, you know, there's not many places in the world like college where you have so many people working towards a similar goal, as in like getting a degree in one space. So you leverage your network, you fucking utilize, you know, the stickers and shit, and then also you got the studio space for free, because that's what PC was providing you with. So you weren't just sitting there with your dick in your hand, you know, drinking beers and shit, going out every weekend. You're like, nah, like, I want to try this clothing shit. I'm gonna utilize the resources around me, and I'm gonna make some shit happen. Whether or not it panned out, you tried it, and you know what I'm saying. You made the best of what you had around you. And now we'll wrap it up, but I want you to talk briefly about your thesis, because that shit's so cool with your dad's clothing, your dad's fucking uniforms, real quick, and just like touch on that.
Yeah, so I was blessed my senior year at Providence. I wasn't studying fashion. My degree was in essentially graphic design, which they call, you know, digital imaging. It's graphic design. And then I did marketing as well. But, you know, my art, like, focus up until senior year was all, you know, like, digital based, and then anything else that I wanted to take on the side that, like, kind of went along with that. I talked to, you know, the people who like ran the department, and they were kind of like, you know, aware of. I was like, you know, this is what I'm doing. Like, this is what I, you know, at this point, like, people knew what I was doing, and I was like, you know, I'm like. I don't know. I was kind of just like, you know, I want to make clothes. Like I'm here like doing this project, and like I think I can still like wrap some sort of like graphic design element into this. But I want to like, you know, so basically for the thesis, they tell us in September that we're gonna have a gallery show at the end of the year, and I was like, holy fuck! And like, you know, we get to put our art on the walls, and immediately I'm thinking like I have to get mannequins, I have to like, you know, put screens on the wall, I have to like, you know, I wanted to like turn the gallery into like a pop-up shop, and like do some shit that, you know, people hadn't done before, and especially at a school like PC where like kids aren't taking art very seriously, and like it's kind of a niche community within the school. I thought that, you know, I thought we could do something really cool. Like I had my buddy Elliot, who I was sharing the studio with. He was also doing clothes, and like he was down to like we shared a side of the gallery for that show, and we had a whole section of the gallery that was like all Greenwork shit that was for sale, all of his T-shirts that were for sale, and I did pretty well that day.
Wow.
It was fun. It was really like it was. You know, definitely a huge moment, but I really also like the whole thesis like was about my father was in the military, and you know I wanted to make a bunch of clothes from his old uniforms, all of like, you know, I literally got his shit from the attic and kept it, and you know, obviously with his permission. There are some pieces that he even like, you know. Shout out to my pops. Like my pops gave me like dope jackets and like things with like gold buttons on them, and he was like, dude, cut it up, like if you can make something sick. Like my dad trusts me. My dad, I like, shout out my dad for real. And like I made all this shit. I made like a whole patchwork. You know, I'm sure we can like put some pictures up on the screen. But I made like a whole like gallery show experience, basically kind of showing, you know, the contrast between uniformity and, you know, like self-expression. Like even my dad would tell me, I wrote like a mini essay that was on the wall. My dad would tell me stories about when he was in the military, and like even in those settings of uniformity and, you know, rigid, you know, like structure, there's still that desire for you to like put that shit on and like wear your clothes a certain way. Like my dad would talk about him and his buddies like rolling their sleeves up over and over and over again so that you could like show your bicep, and like there was a certain way of like tucking your pants into the sock, which tucked into the boot, which tucked, you know, like there was all like a way to wear, you know, and I can picture it, you know, that one, you know, I'm sure there's that like soldier who like puts the helmet on, he looks like a bobblehead, like, you know, there's ways that you look good in your military shit too, like it, you know, so it's like
game. It's like drip.
Yeah, it's like anything. So like once I heard those stories, and like in preparation for that thesis, I sat down with my dad a lot and just like talked to him about like, you know, those times, and it was cool, you know, to just kind of make something, you know, in honor of him, and also, you know, just make something that I was really proud of, and have, you know, all like the people at school come out for it. That shit was really cool. I had one of my professors, like I'm not trying to one of my professors who I really admired, I do admire, Professor Sung.
Shout out Professor Sung.
He was like, he like pulled me aside and he was like, dude, I've been here for like 16 years. I've never seen anything like this in terms of turnout for just like a student like show. Like it was just like it was clear like from other people around that like, you know, I felt like we did something cool, you know, from From yeah.
That's what caught me. When I came to the store, like the shirts were cool, but then you showed me the line, and I was like, oh yeah, this man's different. This man's different. No, I appreciate you. And y'all are mad funny. You're right now, but like you two are just very humble. Cause like, even right there, you were like, I don't want to sound like that, but like somebody else said that about you. And then a couple weeks ago, when I was talking to you about modeling, this kid's like, I hate this. What'd he say? You remember this shit? He's like, I hate to. You were talking about modeling as a kid, and you're like, I hate to say it, but like, I hate to sound like this. You said some shit that was like, I hate to sound like this, but I modeled for like.
But then it was just true facts.
It was just true facts. I modeled for like every big brand you could think of. I'm like, why would you hate to say that? Like you were good at something that you did, and you guys are just funny, man. But
well, you know.
No, I get it, because humility is it's rare to come by, and you guys definitely both have that loud.
No, yeah, I don't want to. Obviously, I don't want to talk about this for long, but I feel like I don't know. I meet a lot of people every day in the store. I think a lot of people. I don't know if it's because like they see us and they're like, wow, these kids are doing their shit, and they're trying. I'm touching the mic so much, I don't know why. But like I think there's like a tendency for people to kind of immediately like try to like rattle off accolades and rattle off connections. Is a big one. Like people walk into the store and they're like, oh yeah, like I do this and I know this person and like look at this that I did, and it's like and also I worked with this person who knows this person, and you probably heard of this person, and it's like it's all good. Like I'm just like I'm more interested in seeing what you've made
and who you are as a person.
yeah.
Like, can we have a conversation first?
Like, sure.
But that's funny because once you start getting like a little bit of motion, they start like, oh yeah, I do this, I make music, and I go to I feel you, bro. But Sawyer, go ahead, never miss thrift, bro. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, so I take care of all the sourcing and curation of vintage.
Pull the mic up a little bit, just a little bit.
Of vintage and designer garments.
Like the arm will go like this.
At Greenestone. And yeah, it all started off a long time ago. I first started flipping kicks when I was 9. Like Joey touched on a little bit, I was a pretty successful child model. Majority of my childhood and throughout a lot of my adolescence.
I'm gonna need some pictures. I'm gonna throw them over.
Yes.
Fucking 10-year-old Sawyer.
Yes. Can we get the saxophone pick? Now I mentioned it, we need the saxophone.
I don't know that pick. I'm gonna need it.
I don't know if Sawyer's gonna want that, but it's one of my personal.
Yeah, it's a trumpet.
Have you send it to me?
It's a trumpet.
But yeah, so growing up modeling, I spent a ton of time in New York City. Was back and forth a ton between Jersey, where I'm from, where Brendan's from too, and New York City. So, growing up, being in the fashion industry, being in the city, you get used to the culture there very quickly. You start to realize the fashion culture very quickly too, especially when you're getting styled, working for big brands like Air Jordan, Ralph Lauren, things like that. Like, you're getting put in great garments all the time. You're getting fit exactly to your liking, how the clothes look best on you, all this. So I just, developed an appreciation for it at a young age. Realized that with sneakers came the possibility for flipping them, turning profit. From sneakers, it then went into, Supreme. Shout out to my mom. She would give me $50 from every job I booked growing up.
Modeling job.
Yep, every modeling job growing up, my mom would cut me $50 cash, and I'd save those 50s, get a new pair of kicks, bring them to a show, flip them, whatever, build up a collection. As I said, then transitioned into Supreme when, that brand was super, super hyped. Made good money off that too. And then, kind of like fell out of love, I'd say, with fashion and clothing, just growing up, being so involved with it for so long. Also coming from a place where I kind of got judged for, that being my job or my life and things like that. I kind of like wanted to conform a little bit more, which was naive of me, but it's just something that happens, I feel like, with a lot of people in that,
a lot
like,
of things.
when you're in that changing, like, time in your life,
Facts.
you kind of want everyone to like you. You want to fit in. So you kind of like let your true self like take the back seat.
What age would you say that was? Because you started early as shit.
Yeah, I'd say this was probably like toward the end of high school, like once I wasn't modeling
asking
anymore.
questions.
Well, I think that's key.
No, it is key.
I
it
think
is
that
key.
is
I was
key
hoping you
because
were gonna
like
get there, but I'm like, yeah.
because yeah,
I'd say like, you know,
he did it
around-
for a while.
Yeah.
around this time, you know, is when I started going out a lot more, started drinking a lot more, you know, just was more worried about what I was going to be doing on the weekends as opposed to, you know, making money off clothes or, you know, hustling. And yeah, just fell into kind of like a party lifestyle. College was coming up. I got into Clemson, which is a great school, but it's also a very big party school down south. So I was, you know, excited to go do that. Wasn't thinking about hustling, wasn't thinking about business. You know, pretty similar to Brendan. It took me a little bit longer to get away from the whole party scene in college. But luckily, through meeting my roommate Dylan Dennis down at Clemson, we just kind of like inspired one another. He wasn't big into clothes, but I had the knowledge. And, you know, thrifting and vintage kind of started to take off. And I was like, dude, I know how to do this. Like, I know how to find this. I know how to identify it. Like, we could make a little business. And, you know, I hate to say this, but starting out, the only reason why we did that and why we were selling clothes is so that we'd have money in our pockets to go get banged up on the weekends, or so that, you know, we could look fly for cheap, so that we could go out and drink, you know, like it was, at first that's what it started out as. And then over time, you know, I got sober. I realized that drinking was something that didn't serve me at all. It actually did quite the opposite. And, you know, Dylan and I just pushed each other, went really hard, especially senior year of college, just, you know, marketing our brand Never Miss, doing pop-ups on campus, built a website, doing website drops, all of that, hosting in-person events. Our house off campus in college literally looked like a store, just like that we, you know, set up ourselves with like temporary racks.
How would y'all live? I mean, like, was it like a 2-bedroom apartment?
Nah, so actually we had a 4-bedroom house, so it's 3 floors. First floor was a kitchen and a living room, and it was like long. It was, the place where we lived is very
Yeah, because
weird.
like those southern schools, like it wasn't like they were in the dorms. Like it's not like PC and shit. Like they had space.
Yeah, like I had like a full yard, house off campus.
Yeah.
The last 2 years of school, and yeah, basically just like had the whole wall from like the kitchen all the way into the living room was just lined with racks. Then I had like a little circle rack. I like tried to spread it out.
What
but
you
make
guys
it
have
look
now,
cool.
I mean, esque.
Nah,
They were all
no,
like,
but like,
they were all
yeah.
like rolling. You know,
Yeah,
it
they
was
were all
like no
temporary.
built-ins.
Oh, like what you brought over here for?
But bro, it was an I never actually saw it at the like Sawyer and I were very like tapped in at the time, but
yeah,
you
it
know.
was, you know, just like people would see the Instagram, they'd see that we had cool stuff on the website, cool stuff on the Instagram, and they'd be like, I go to school with these people, why don't I just DM? You know, by the end of college, I was skipping class because I had people wanting to come shop instead, and I was like, I don't want to go to class, I want to make some bread, you know? And shout out to my professors that were lenient in my last year, especially Sam Hakeem. Absolute legend.
and shout out to Dylan too.
Yeah, of course, shout out to Dylan. You know, Dylan isn't involved in Never Miss anymore. You know, we went our separate ways in terms of business-wise. He got, you know, a great opportunity. He actually lives down in Puerto Rico full-time. He's working for a cryptocurrency called Core.
He's buzzing.
So, you know, my boy's still winning too, which is dope.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, it was just like, without Dylan, Never Miss would have happened. Without me, Never Miss would have happened. You know, I had the knowledge on the clothes. He had the grind set to be like, yo, I'm going to make
The grind set.
flyers. I'm going to, you know, make Free Shirt Friday posts where, you know, we do raffles every Friday, get people excited about it. He handled a lot more of the social media in the early days of it. And so, yeah, without him, it wouldn't have turned into what it is now. And then, you know, fast forward to where we are now. Obviously, I still run Never Miss. I still source clothing every day, resell. But, you know, kind of similar to what Brendan was talking about earlier, our ethos has always been, you know, even before Greenestone, when it was just Never Miss, when it was just Dylan and I, we wanted to have dope clothes, but provide them for an affordable price. Because at the end of the day, there's market value on everything. And when you start getting into, you know, that gray area of like, oh, I've got a ton of dope clothes, I've got a dope collection to show people, I feel like a lot of people get egos. All of a sudden, they think they can name their prices. Like, we always wanted to be affordable over anything. We wanted to build a community more than we wanted to build something that made us money, you know?
Shout out, yeah.
That transferred right over into the store, and that's still how, you know, Brendan and I operate to this day.
And you guys, don't forget about the people that, you know, help you out. You shouted out 9 different people since we started this episode so far. Like, you remember first and last names. Which,
Oh,
like,
of course.
might seem minuscule, but, like, you know, I don't think that's something to just gloss over.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that have helped both of us get to where we are, whether that be directly, indirectly, you know, going through stuff with significant others, going through stuff with best friends, you know, having people be honest with me, being like, dude, you got to quit drinking, things like that. You know, you first hear that when you're in that mindset. It's like, oh, they don't know anything. Like, I was just drunk. Like, it's fine. That's not the real me. But stuff like that, that really adds up, especially on the people that care about you, and it affects them. So, you know, just being lucky enough that I was surrounded by people honest enough to give it to me straight and, you know, encourage me to make a change, because, you know, now I've been sober going on like 700 days, and
Let's go.
appreciate it.
Nah.
And, you know, like,
Real work.
I'd say I look back on this past year and a half, going on 2 years.
That's
of being
almost 2
sober.
years, bro.
Yeah, it's like so much more than I ever could have expected to happen while I was drinking has happened for me, you know. So just, I got to give thanks to so many different people. My mom, my dad, you know, Dylan, my homies from Clemson, you know. Shout out to Danny, you know who you are. There's lots of people who helped me get to where I am and helped me realize things about myself that then, you know, transformed into success, where for a while it was more in a place of the opposite.
Right. Shout out you, though. You can have the best support system. You can take a horse to water. You know what I'm saying? So, no, that's fire. Now I really want to, you know, I love hearing about your individual stories, but like what I really know y'all for and what you guys have been fucking popping off with for the last year and continue to just keep killing shit is Greenestone Studios. So talk about y'all, you two, like how'd y'all meet, the friendship, and then how that kind of blossomed into the idea of Greenestone, what it initially was supposed to be, and then the opportunity that presented itself, and just, you know, where we are today, blah, blah, blah. Cause it's fucking gas. Like y'all story, bro. That shit puts a battery in my back. When you told me, cause when I first met you guys, you told me about the 30 days, yada yada yada, and then not to spoil it, but you know when
there's layers, and don't let us forget any as well. I'll try to start at the top.
I got it all up here, but
I'll try to start at the top, and then we'll probably go back and forth.
So start with how you guys, you know, met.
So
and then
we
build
meet. So I'm growing up with one of my closest friends, Chris Sugg. Shout out Chris fucking Sugg. For real. And, you know, I would always hear about Sawyer. Our moms were our friends, like just from our town. And
yeah, to clarify, I went to school with Chris Sugg. He was one of my best friends too.
Yeah.
So it was like a
and I went to school
friend.
with him too, and then he transferred to Sawyer's school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris.
And so, like, you know, we didn't know each other at that time, but, you know, Chris had us kind of connected, as well as, like, you know, going back, you know, our families knew of each other. Like, my grandparents would always go into like Sawyer's grandfather's restaurant. Like just this shit goes deep.
Yeah, like generations. You know,
yeah.
just small
like
town.
like
kinda
really
thing.
just like close knit family shit that goes further back than us. But we met when we were like 16. We met working at Bars Landing in Atlantic Highlands in the parking lot.
Shout out Bars
because
Landing.
there wasn't enough. We were supposed to be gassing up boats all summer, making the good bread from the boaters who were tossing tips.
Yeah.
But we got stuck in the parking lot
And you can
because
park in that open space so you can already
yeah,
see.
and we weren't even
Yeah.
like valet. Like
Yeah.
we were like, yeah, like this is the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like it was ass.
Here's your spot.
Yeah, and
Here.
dude, like people would get frustrated. They'd be like, "Are you valet?" Like here's like, and we'd be like, "Nah," and then
I don't even got
they'd
my
be like, "What the?"
license for
Like
real.
they'd get mad at us. Like
It's the most
no
fruitless
tips. Like
job
it sucked.
Oh my god.
It was so ass. And like, dude, we worked like, you know, like 8-9 hour shifts in the sun all day. And like, if we like went to go like take like a lunch break, like we'd get yelled at. It's like that's against the law. Like what? Like what the fuck?
Making $8.60 an hour, $8.50
It
an
was
hour.
ridiculous. Yeah, it was insane. But you know, obviously, like I was kind of getting at earlier, like you know, with a shit job, all you're doing is thinking about what you'd rather be doing. So,
Amen.
well, you know, you give us a bullshit job, me and Sawyer are just going to be in the parking lot talking about
Cooking.
sneakers.
Cooking.
And that's what happens. And you know, down the line, we kind of, you know, like that, like we, you know, worked different jobs, shit jobs. So we got a better job. I stayed there for longer than he did, but just because I didn't want to go out and find another
Right,
job, you
right.
know what I mean?
He was comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I know this is shitty, but it's okay.
But my mom's not on my ass to get it. Yeah, you know,
It's
if I quit that job, then mom's gonna be like, you need a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm off the hook. But I roped my cousin into working there with me the next summer. So at least I had like a homie to like be in the shit with me. Then, you know, Sawyer and I kind of like lost contact, but like we just like weren't as close. And I'd say like a year or two later, we just like got like, I believe the story is that like I was driving in Red Bank and like him and Dougie Scales, shout out.
Yeah, another shout out. My all-time best friend.
I think him and Doug were on the side of the road and I just saw them and I was like, and like we just like started chatting. At that point I was in college and you know, go home from college and Sawyer was into thrifting, and then it's like, you know, I'm really trying to do my thing creatively, whether, you know, it's clothes or just like what, like, you know, develop my style. I've always been into clothes, like that's like, as we, you know, we're talking about sneakers, like, you know, we both were reselling, like I was, you know, going into my like dad's office or whatever with like my last like 160 for like the KD6s when I was like 15 or 14 or whatever, you know, like I always have been into clothes. And
Was that series?
oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
I had the BHMs because they had all the 3M
yeah.
and shit,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
purple ones.
Those are hard.
But yeah, bro, like, you know, it goes from sneakers and then you're like, wait, like I look fucking Diddy in these sneakers just wearing like Lululemon fits. Like we need to step it up a little bit.
I look Diddy.
So, you know, it just evolves and
So, but what you guys talked about the Babe store last time.
yes, that's another good one. So like
Was that before or after you said?
I think it's after, but
okay.
so yeah, like we definitely like one of my homies was moving into his apartment. He was going to NYU and I helped him like move in cuz like any excuse to like go to the city, like I'm down. And you know, he just needs someone to help him like move boxes. So I was just like, okay.
Fuck it.
And he would like smoke me out for the day or whatever. So I pull up and then Sawyer and I probably hadn't seen each other in like at least another year at that point. And I like walk into Kith Soho, which like if anybody's been to Kith Soho, like big store, sometimes there's a line out front and like they keep it moving. Like they're like, you know, it's very
rare that you'd like run.
It's just as crazy as us walking into each other on the street. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's a ton of people in there, big ass store. And
You're
like,
in New York City, you know.
literally, like I remember, I can show you exactly where I was standing. I can show you exactly where he was standing. I saw him first, and I was like,
Hey.
"Oh, this is gonna be crazy." And I like walked over, and I was like,
Yeah, it's
"Yeah." And then I don't know if I think that was something. Eventually, we're talking every day. Every time I come home from school, we're
Lincoln.
We're going to all of the thrifts. To get out of our parents' houses, we're going up to the bins, and we're spending the whole day at the bins. And then on the way back, we'll hit any thrifts that we can. I'll go get screen printing supplies. Anything that we can do to further both of our creative endeavors or businesses or what side projects, what have you. That's my go-to guy, and vice versa.
What not because obviously you guys connected on a fashion level and you guys had already worked that job together in the parking lot.
Sure.
But just because you guys didn't go to school together and you guys weren't,
Yeah.
I'm assuming hanging out all the time prior to when you started thrifting together, what kind of drew you guys to each other aside from this shared interest?
Well, it's funny, we were really cool with each other at the job.
Okay.
I still have a bunch of pictures on my phone, off rip, me and Sawyer listen to the same music, we're into the same clothes, we listen, it's just all the same shit.
Yeah.
Mutual friends, and we're just I have videos of us at that job fucking around in the parking lot. I could tell you the exact songs we were listening to. It's just it was always kind of, it's just I think obviously Sawyer and I spent a ton of time together, but I think it's also Sawyer's always been that person for me who I could not see him for a year, and it's
same.
We're gonna have
it's the same shit,
we're gonna have a
Yeah.
convo that it's like yesterday, and we work busy ass weeks, so sometimes I won't have a great conversation with Sawyer for 2 or 3 days, and then we sit down at the kitchen table at 11 o'clock at night and just chop it up for 3 hours. It's just
It's just how it goes,
Yeah.
I feel especially too, people always ask, it's being in business with your friend, things like that. Like Brendan said, that's true. We're open every day. We work long days. So, sometimes I'm focused on my shit. Brendan's focused on his shit for X amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's as long as you always just can keep one another sane and take yourself out of the business side of it too. It's always easy to maintain that friendship. And like he said, it's not we met and we were oh, this kid's kind of cool, and then it was oh, fuck off at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
We don't talk. It's just we didn't go to the same school, but we were still homies, we just didn't see each other as much. It's not we had fallen off in terms of how we felt about one another. It's just we weren't seeing each other as often. And then as we got older, we're coming back from college, our parents are giving us a little more autonomy and being able to do whatever we kind of want. It was I'm gonna go hustle with Brendan. I'm gonna go try and find some stuff. We're gonna print some stuff in his parents' attic, whatever. We're gonna do something because he was the only other person that was into what I was into. No one else, around me was. And don't get me wrong, I got plenty of friends growing up from home that are still to this day my very closest friends, but none of them are into fashion,
So then talk about, that's probably later years of college, kind of when you're coming home.
Yeah. So by the time that we hit senior
You
year,
guys are talking
I'm on the phone with Sawyer every day.
And I'm assuming at this point, you guys had talked about.
Yeah, we're not. It's not
It's not Greenestone, but you guys had mentioned we don't want to work for nobody. We both like this shit. What
Right.
that
absolutely.
idea is
I think
forming.
it was because I'm on the phone with my parents, and they're like,
What are you doing?
You got to start applying for jobs."
Yep.
And I'm kind of
No.
I'm not gonna do that. I got some good money coming in,
Right.
and the business is
Sustaining.
thriving,
Yeah.
for me, I'm. It's not I have to support a family, So
but you can pay your bills.
I'm getting to that point,
Right.
and
That's powerful, dude.
I was I think I can do this shit, I was I'm not here to I'm not here to like clock in for anybody else's dream, bro. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm here to like, you know, God bless my family again, my parents. Like, you know, they were, you know, willing to, you know, support me, and you know, I want to clock in for my own dream. You know, like I'm here to build my own shit. But bro, you know, like it's just like I'm on the phone with Sawyer every single day, and I'm like, bro, like, you know, we're not getting jobs. Like, tell me you're in this with me. And it's like, you know, we probably had that conversation like 40 times, where and vice versa. It's like, dude, like, you know, dude, like,
Yeah, when your dad's calling you and he's like, buddy,
you know, like we're in this together, right? Like you're not getting a job either, right? Like you're in, like, yeah, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing it. You're not doing it, right? Like we're gonna, you know, and then, you know, eventually we're like, okay, like we can obviously like operate out of our parents' houses for I think the initial plan was probably just for like a year or whatever.
Elaborate on that though. What do you mean operate out of the houses?
For sure, we were gonna, I was gonna, you know, just have a studio, like in like, you know, we have like an attic situation where I built a studio, and then Sawyer had kind of was planning to renovate like this detached garage into like an appointment only like store type situation. But you know,
garage.
like, but this is in you know, like residential New Jersey. So
no
it's like
walking traffic.
So it's like, you know, like I don't, like even thinking right now, like I don't know that probably wouldn't have lasted very long, because
I don't know. You
it's
got
like,
you got to tell people that you would make shit work, but I hear
for sure. But it's just like it would have been catering to the wrong demographic off rip.
right.
Like we, you know, I'm very blessed to have grown up in a beautiful family, beautiful home. But dude, like it's not where Greenestone doesn't exist.
Where you
there.
are, where you're from, I feel you.
And it couldn't.
Right.
And it's not, you know, it's not like I even like want to be like, you know, I want to bring this to my hometown. It's like, sure, like I love my hometown, but it's like, bro, like y'all can have that, like, you know, like
Lululemon.
it's just, you know, I've been
it's
it's just like, you know, it's just a nice town in New Jersey.
Right.
Like, you know, there, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of kids there who are like into what we're into, as well, and like they have New York City, you know, and like they have those things, and I don't know. I just think, as you know, as I came to Providence, I was a student here, and I started to develop a relationship with the city, with that homelessness project, and the people here. And as I sat at graduation, I had 3,000 followers, and that to me was like a major milestone. Like I'm looking at my phone, like I got 3,000 customers. Yeah, I got 3,000 soldiers, 3,000 customers.
Family members.
And like, you know, obviously we had reached like some really significant like sales milestones at that point as well, that I felt really great about. And you know, I just felt like, you know, this is, you know, like it's like as things kind of fell into place, I had met Paul Formal while I was in college, and I was getting blanks from him, blank t-shirts, blank sweatshirts. He was a wholesaler, so like always someone who really supported me in my creative endeavors throughout college. And I initially went in there because their sign is so like distinct, and it turns out Shepard Fairey designed it, and I could kind of tell by looking at it. It has like the Obey iconography type, you know, like, you know, the color palette, the whole nine. And you know, Shepard went to RISD, and Paul worked closely with Shepard, and Paul knows some people, and Paul, you know, I like Paul's dope, and Paul, you know, owns real estate. Paul owns the building that is Greenestone. So, you know, I was 3 months out of college, and we were just working on these spaces in New Jersey.
The garages.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I was gearing up to drop my, like, so this is also a good point to like show you where we were at. Like, I was running a a photo shoot for the Not Feeling Friendly shirt.
The friendly ice cream one?
Yeah.
So tough.
And, you know, that shirt has like done really well for me, and
That's what put me on, DR.
It was, yeah, and I really I think like the imagery of our brand and kind of like we're kind of like has shifted a little bit. Like I think a lot of people would kind of look at that now and be like, damn, you did like a cute ice cream shirt. Like it's a little like different than like the imagery we tend to curate for Greenworks. But you know, that shirt was really cool, and I did really well. But at the time, I couldn't get anyone to model. Like I was, you know, I was hitting up like close friends. I was hitting up like anyone putting on the story. I was putting like literally anything. Like Sawyer was posting on all forms of social media. We're directly reaching out to people. I'm reaching out to people who, you know, all these girls from my high school who are like, you know, saying that they're trying to model, want to model or whatever. But I think it's also like back then, you know, we're kind of like, I don't know. It's like, you know,
It
like
wasn't validated enough for people to want.
I do think that was it. You know,
Yeah.
there's like, oh, I couldn't make it or whatever.
They're not taking
no
you
hard
serious. No,
feelings.
no, no,
Like
no.
I'm sure these people know who they are, and it's like, but it's just like that's something like, you know, if you look on the Instagram, you got me and Sawyer modeling in the Not Feeling Friendly drop, and we opened doors like a month or two later. You know what I mean? Like the shift to where like we opened doors on a retail space and everyone like, you know, if I was running a shoot tomorrow, I could probably get 10 models there.
We get 100 models there.
Like, and no,
Let's
like
keep it a bean.
realistically,
Let's keep
you know,
it a bean. Oh,
like
maybe not tomorrow, but if you promoted it
Like-
for a week,
no, yeah, and like
You guys got a solid
I'm so
community.
blessed, like with everything that we've created this year, and even 6 months from opening. You know,
Yeah.
we've got so many dope people who are, you know, trying to work with us, trying to model, trying to do all these things. But it's like, you know, it's so funny how that like validation shit works. Where like, I don't know.
just takes a switch, bro.
Yeah, like
took one video for me.
nobody wanted to model for
It took
shit.
one video for me, bro. For like a year and a half, I was posting videos.
I was like, dude, I'll pay you. I
Yeah.
will give you. I'll buy y'all food. I'll give you all
Nothing.
free shirts.
Nothing.
I'll do whatever. And now, like, bro, I'll run a shoot with like 10 heads, and like nobody gets like I pay my photographer and like the people who run the shoot, and all these models are just like happy to be there.
That's how it should be, though.
Yeah,
But,
it's lit.
run through the retail the retail spot, like actually going from
You want to run it?
you guys renovating the garages to
Yep.
2 months later
Yeah, like running the 30 days on the
being
space too.
being open.
Yeah, so basically, it's so funny. It was my 22nd birthday, June 17th of last year. I woke up to a call from Brendan. He's like, dude, we got it. And I'm like, what is this kid talking about? And so, you know, long
Bro,
story short,
It just like the vision fell into place. Like,
yeah, everything just lined up. And basically, long story short, Paul, who Brendan was just talking about, his wife passed away, unfortunately. Brendan was coming home, you know, had visited his girlfriend up in Maine. On his way back home, he stopped in Providence just to, you know, pay his respects to Paul, because he knew his wife and, you know, he cared about Paul.
Hell yeah.
He was, you know, giving Paul business the whole time he was at PC, you know, buying blanks off of him, things like that. So he just wanted to, you know, pay his respects as, you know, a real man does.
Wow.
And basically he stopped in talking with Paul and, you know, sharing memories. Paul was like, you know, like, what are you doing next? What's going on with the brand? And Brendan kind of explained, oh, you know, we're kind of trying to start up some little kind of like retail type stuff, but like book and by appointment only. And he was like, well, what about next door? Like, you know, Norm's Jewelry, which was where Greenstone is now for 40 years plus, ended their lease and it was vacant. Sure enough, Brendan, you know, took a tour through, called me. He was like, dude, I think we could do something with this. Next day, went right up to Providence, checked it out. You know, sure enough, I think 10 days from that, in between the next 10 days, I drove all the way down to Clemson, got all my inventory from my house in South Carolina, drove it all back up. My dad came up with me the first weekend. We started getting going on renovations. Brendan met us up there like 2 days later, and
we moved very fast.
You know,
from
the rest
that
is
initial phone call on Sawyer's birthday.
11 days total. I was moving up here full time. Yeah, June 17th
From
is
the
my
phone call.
birthday. The 28th was my first night.
And
living
then
here.
June 28th, and then August 3rd, doors are open.
Doors are open August 3rd.
So I did it last time, but like before you tap in, bro, I just want to, first week in May, you guys both graduate college. First week in May. And then between May to middle of June, you guys are working on renovating your parents' garages.
And doing like Not Feeling Friendly shoot, printing tees,
But
and
just working on
Brendan's
building up the Greenestone
attic.
brand, but with the vision of we're going to be in Jersey for the next year or so. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Until
Yeah,
we
I
find
was
a
really
touch
trying
base.
to, my girlfriend was starting at NYU. My plan was to grind I was just gonna be living at my parents' house talking to nobody. Like I was gonna throw a mattress in the garage and mom's like, you want to come to church on Sunday? Like I'm not doing shit. I'm making clothes and I'm gonna. I love church. I love church. I go up to, I'm going up to New York to see my girl whenever possible to make any connections I can in New York City. That was my plan.
But just to abbreviate the timeline, graduate early May, work on the plan for Greenestone in the garage, May to middle of June. You go see Paul, June 17th. 11 days later, you guys are both you're in Providence full time. 2 days after that, you're in Providence full time. Within 31 days, Greenestone is a fully functioning, renovated retail spot. And now a year later, you guys have 2,500 followers.
That's
Fucking
phenomenal.
a community that reaches. You guys tapped into. I've been in Providence for 23 years, and you guys, I saw you guys into all throughout my personal network within 6 months. I'm like, you guys are with.
Yeah, I think we have. I think we have around 16K across
between the
platforms.
personal brands. I'm talking about just Greenestone.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I
No
followed
doubt.
you guys when I met you guys, but then I'm seeing you collab with kids I went to middle school with, and then kids I met in high school, and then people I used to shoot for, and it wasn't just you guys worked your way through one friend group. It was I'm looking at over here, over here, over here. I'm like, bro, these guys aren't even from here. They're fucking cooking up, and so.
Bro, we're blessed. I truly believe that looking back, especially at the first year, I can, we've been rattling names off the whole time, but bro, the amount of people that have walked into our store to show love, and those people are, a lot of those people are doing their thing for real around here, and and
you two, prime example.
100%. It's a blessing. I think when you really when you take that risk and you go sell your shit on the corner every day, that's what I call working retail. We're out on North Main every fucking day, and there's crazy people running around outside, and it's definitely
It's a blessing.
You got to be ready to go to war every day, I think.
It's a blessing, but again, I'm gonna keep saying this shit, but again, it speaks to who you guys are as people.
No
That
doubt, for
off
sure.
One interaction, it's nah, these dudes are solid. I'm gonna come back, or I'm some people I want to build with people, and even if I don't buy anything today, we don't work with you guys today. These are two solid dudes. I like what they're doing. In the future, you know what I'm saying? I'm a connector. If someone's looking for a cool spot to go shop or shoot, check out the boys at Greenestone. The cool people, go show them some love. So shout out y'all. And I want to talk about the 30 days, but I'm going to ask about that when we do. I want to talk about your social media marketing, and I want you guys to touch upon that then, because that was crazy. I just went back and ran through those videos when you shared it last week, because you're coming, it was a year anniversary when you first started posting them videos. Yeah. So I want you to get into that a little bit later. Is that you guys good for the foundation of Greenestone?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you take over, and I want you to preface this part with, take yourself back 11 days when you first walked into the store, and the first time we recorded this episode, and y'all know Adrian. We talked about this before. This kid's horrible with punctuality. Not
right.
great.
He just goes right.
Now, I've been early though for the last two episodes.
That's my
First
dog,
one.
but nobody's perfect. I have my flaws. His tends to be being punctual. And so I'm like, bro, we're recording at 8:15. but we got to get you to the store beforehand because I can show you pictures, you guys can talk about it, he can meet you as people, but like for you to really feel the essence and what makes you guys different, you have to pull up to the store. And so I was kind of on this kid's ass for like a week, day of. That day, I was like, meet me at the store at 7. I check you're not picking up the phone at like 6. I'm like, I check his location, he's playing basketball. I'm not gonna whoop his ass, I'm not gonna lie. And you're lucky because you got to the house before I pulled up on you, and I was like, all right. But with that being said, I really, it was important for me and for this episode that he see the space, he be in the space, watch them in action, and just get a feel for what they've created. And it was a beautiful thing that it happened to be the day that it was, because Ant was there. Shout out Ant, shout out DGT. And he was doing his thing in the corner, and then you had fucking Justice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Shout out Justice too.
Yes,
you
sir.
had
Shout out
some customers in there, and
boy.
and again, that day I pulled up in the morning just to chop it up with y'all. Look at fits, look at clothes, and it was just us in there. And then I pulled up again that night after it was fucking Hurricane Katrina Part 2 or some shit.
Oh my God,
and I walk in and there's like, ants in the corner. You got like 5-6 customers, a couple of your homies in the corner, and just like y'all are booling. And I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. Like, you come in and take a look. And so this next part, we're gonna talk about kind of what makes y'all, what makes Greenestone different, but preface this with like, how you felt, like your experience at Greenestone, first time being there, just catch a vibe. And I'm
for sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could definitely get into it. I think before I get into it though, I kind of just want to like, show my gratitude and appreciate, kind of your story. Cause, I kind of been here listening, and the second time it almost feels like when you watch a movie too the second time, and the second time you watch the movie you kind of like you just realize something different about yourself. So literally, like, you guys have a super dope story. I think as individuals and the way the stories just overlapped and then you guys came together. I know we're gonna talk about it in a little bit, but I mean, literally they made a movie in the mall about those people that went in the mall, lived in the back. Like, I think if you guys made a movie, it'd be even way better, right? You know what I mean? So
yeah, we didn't even talk about it.
It really just goes to show, I won't talk too much about it because I know you guys are going to touch on it, but you guys have a really powerful story, and like, it's just really, really deep. And I learned this recently, and I'll kind of bring it back and loop it back around into your story. But it's just, a mentor of mine that I jumped on a call with the other day, he was talking to me about how, like, sometimes you change your alignment, right? And that also change your assignment, right? And like, we get aligned with different people. We get aligned with the right places, the right opportunity. And some people start a clothing brand and they think their assignment is to make money. They think their assignment is to do this. They think it's to do that. And just to hear you guys say like, hey, we're doing this, we're building this, but like our mission is to create this community, right? Our mission is to create something deep. And you guys are very, like, very vocal on your story. So again, like, just to preface, because, like, this is my second time really understanding the story and really taking it all in. And my first time in the store, I didn't know the story as well as I do now. And, it's really like, it's just, like, the more you get to know these guys, the more like, the blood, sweat, and tears that they're actually putting into what they're building. And you feel that when you have a piece of clothing on. Like, I mean, these pants, I love them. I do a lot with these pants. They, I do damage. I've been wearing these pants a lot since I got them. They're super comfortable. They're, game changers. But just kind of wanted to start off there. I mean, when I went into the store, it's crazy because, like, I'm very intentional. I'm always looking for patterns. I don't believe anything happens to me for no reason. And it's like, before I went to your store, like, me personally, like, a lot of, like, when I'm getting like a crazy shift in my life or just something like cool or crazy gonna happen in my life or something, I don't know, like, it just starts raining crazy. Like, so I always chill with, it just starts raining crazy, right? So let me put it like that. So right before I got into the store, it was like, Joey's not exaggerating. Like, it was the craziest rain I've ever seen. Like, people lost power and stuff because of that rainstorm that happened.
Yeah, bro, the trees and shit.
And it's, like, that just goes to show, like, the shop was packed during that time. Before I came in, I seen people getting out their car, like, dude, going through the rain with no umbrella or nothing to go into the store, right? So that just kind of just shows, like, the love that the people that have been going there have, for what you guys built there. And firsthand, I mean, I don't know if it was just the right timing or whatever it was, but when I walked in, again, like I said, yeah, like, the pieces were amazing. I saw the clothes in there. I mean, I'm not one to, like, me personally, I'm not a fashion guy. I can say a clothes is a piece of shit, doesn't mean nothing. I can say it's amazing. I mean, it means something, but it really doesn't, right? Because I'm not one that really does that. But what I really took away from it was like, you know, Joey prefaces the community that you guys were building there. The fact that you guys had somebody in the corner, you know, building their brand, you know, within your space. You had people there that were coming there, not even to shop, right? Just to kind of coexist, you know, become better versions of themselves, you know, and you know, be a part of your story and you guys be a part of their story. You know, so it's like my discernment is heavy, and when I walked in there, I felt that crazy. I was just quiet for a little bit, and I was taking it all in, and even being quiet, like it was super welcoming, right? You guys were very welcoming. The people there were very welcoming, and you know, I'm in sales, right? Like, you know, I don't want to get salesy or anything, but I'm in sales, and that's the type of experience. You guys may not do it intentionally, obviously, whatever. Maybe you do it intentionally, but that's the experience you cultivate that makes people want to buy things.
We definitely
right?
do.
Like that's the experience that you cultivate that makes people like, you know, you're gonna buy this piece of clothing, you're gonna go home, you're not gonna get buyer's remorse, because you're not just gonna think about the feeling that you got when you got it, but you're gonna hear about the story that you understand or a story that you might hear there. Like, you know, Justice is super cool and super cool. Like, you know, just everybody that was there though that day was super cool. You know, so again, like if you haven't gotten into the store yet, I would say, like, don't even go in there with the idea of, like, hey, like, I want to go buy something. Like, go in there to catch the experience first, right? And that's really going to lead you to the right piece of clothing, you know, to the right. It may not even be a piece of clothing. You might meet the right person that you need to meet, you know, to make things happen, right? You know, life's all about meeting the right people at the right times to do the right things. You know, so that's super different. That was from my perspective. But, I mean, I want you guys to share a little bit more, you know, because that's kind of how I felt as just a new person walking in there. And, you know, I, like, literally, like, you know, one thing, I ended up spending like $200 there that day, right? Like, it's just like, it's a formula, right? And, you know, some people try to, like, do stuff like that in an artificial way or force it, right? But for you guys, it just comes so natural and so much of a flow state. It's like you guys are living and breathing everything that you live by, and everything that you're presenting. It's just easy to walk in there and say, oh my God, like, you know, I believe, like, this is something that I'm gonna look good in. This is something that I believe in. This is a place that I feel good in. You know, but for you guys, right, like, what do you know, from like a creator owner perspective, right, like, what makes Greenestone different from your average, you know, thrift or streetwear store? And, you know, again, like I touched on it, but like, what kind of experience are you guys actually trying to curate for the people walking in there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that make us different, and I know there's some main ones that like Sawyer and I will touch on, but I love also hearing when other people tell, because like, you know, obvious things like, you know, our pricing, like we try to be very fair on pricing, and a lot of places at like a retail store you can expect to find, you know, like you could, if you can find something cheaper on Depop, like why are you gonna buy it? Why would I expect you to purchase it in my store?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like that, you know, we definitely try to operate with like that mentality, because, you know, like Sawyer said, everything has its own market value, and like you can't, you know, deny that or like upcharge just because, you know, just because you got it here. Like that's wrong. You know, that's the wrong vibe to curate. Like it shouldn't be like you walk out of it should be like you walk out of Greenstone and you feel like
you're a part of the collective now. It's not like an exclusive club where like only wealthy people can shop. You know, it's a place where we want everyone to be able to shop. And
we also want you to feel like you got a lick on us, like you robbed us, and you like got a crazy deal, and like especially like, you know, whenever we can run a crazy sale, like, you know, we'll do it, and like people are we'll give out crazy deals where like we even lose money sometimes. Like we're really in this for the right reasons, and also, you know, like Greenestone is, you know, we have our studios in the back where there's so much that you can do with our space, where you can buy something from Sawyer and you can come to me and you can get it printed, or you can, you know, get a pair of jeans from, Sawyer, and you can bring them to me, and I can turn them into bell bottoms, or there's a lot that we can do that people just aren't doing, and also we're really inspired by like skate shops and obviously what we sell, we're not a skate shop, but I grew up very inspired by skate culture. And when you talk about I watched a video recently of like the first Supreme flagship location, and they're like blasting music so loud that they were just there to like have fun, and they're like drinking beers, everyone's skating outside, like everyone's like just going crazy, and like that's like what drew people into their spot, is because it wasn't they weren't like, oh, look at these Supreme tees, you know what I mean? Like the focus was on like, this is our clubhouse, like this is our like Deer Dick Fantasy Factory. And obviously like Greenestone, you're not going to see people like getting hammered outside of Greenestone. It's not like it's like we're obviously like family friendly, like we're for all ages, and all that, but like we're I want you to come to my store and feel comfortable like sitting on the couch and like turning on the Xbox and like eating your sandwich there, and like you like a lot of people do that, and like a lot we want that to happen. We want you to feel safe in our space, and that's what we built it for. We're a safe haven for creatives. At the end of the day.
Just to jump in real quick, bro, when I pulled up last week to like talk to you about like reshooting this, I left my car on because I was like, I'm gonna walk in for like 5 minutes, say what's up, and just be like, yeah, we gotta reshoot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was in there for like 45 minutes. Like I'm mostly just kicking it. He wasn't even there because it was like your day off. But like I come in and Brandon's just chilling. I'm like, what's good, bro? And like I left my car on right in front of the store because I'm like, it's hot. I'm gonna be right back. And then like I'm just chilling with you, and your boy came in, and we were just sitting there for like 30, 40 minutes. I'm like, and I got a call or something, and I'm like, why can't I? Oh fuck, it's connected to my Bluetooth. I'm like, my car's still on, I gotta go, but like, bro, it's just like, just to like give an example of just, it is just, I walk in, you're on the couch, I'm like, what's up, Brandon? We just sit down, start chopping it up, and it's just a vibe, bro. It's us like kicking it with the guys. So yeah, I fuck with that. I don't know if you guys, I definitely have more to talk about in terms of the store. But
I want to say one more thing. I think we've definitely touched on this, but like, this is something very important. I know we touched on it last time, but like, there's that. We grew up going to all those streetwear stores in New York City where like the dude behind the counter is like mean mugging, and like you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, where like we try to, yo, what up, like welcome in, like in that, like every single person that like welcome to Moe's, like bro, that's important. Like and I said earlier, like I will fire somebody on the spot for not making customers feel that way. Right. Like that is like number one Greenestone mission statement. Like that's like, and like you were saying earlier, like I don't know if it's intentional, like it's intentional. Trust. Like you can expect walking into one of our stores that everything is intentional. Like we're like one of my greatest art professors told me that like artists, when you look at a piece of art and you judge it and you look at it, artists don't make mistakes, like they do, but like if something's left there, it's purposeful and everything is there for a reason. And like Greenestone is like our greatest art project, you know what I mean? It's like our main project. Like you can expect everything in there, the vibe, the music, the the way we talk to people. You can expect everything on the walls. You can expect all that to be intentional 100% of the time. And
real quick, before you take it away again, you mentioned Billabong last time as like as an inspiring source.
Yes.
So just like to contradict what you said about the New York stores, about people mean bugging, you grew up and you were talking on that because you would go into Billabong and they would like know you and shit like that.
Yeah, so like we grew up like, in Jersey, like I would get my clothes at the surf shop. I'd get my clothes at Billabong or Element. We had like these, we had Billabong in our town. It was sick. Yeah. like we also had local surf shops. Like definitely shop local surf
Fucking
shops.
Ron John.
I
No,
yeah,
but, like, you know what I'm talking about?
I do
Like,
know
yeah.
Ron John, but like, you know, as a skater and a surfer,
Billabong.
I'm no poser. You got to definitely shop local for sure. But you know, Billabong like had all the clothes like for all the kids my age, and like you know, I would go in there with my pops, and like the guy that worked there was like big homie, and like every year, every like season or a couple years or whatever, I needed clothes, like he, you know, I don't know if he actually remembered me. He made me feel like he remembered me, and you know, he hooked me up. Like he, you know, I looked forward to that, and I was excited to that, to go to Billabong with or without, you know, as I got older, with or without my pops, and like that's the summer job I wanted. Like our homie Coleman Gould, who designed the 32-foot long Greenestone vintage sign, he worked there. He's like my friend's older brother, and like he worked there, and I was like, that's the fucking summer job, bro. Like that, like it doesn't get better than that.
Fuck the parking lot.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Like, like I wanted to work. You know, I played lacrosse too. Like I wanted to work at like Lacrosse Unlimited. I wanted to work at the surf shop. Like those are the people. You know, I walk in, like they help me they get me right with my lacrosse stick. Like you know, you walk like stores like that like provided service for the community and were places like, you know, landmarks like that. Those like from a young age I was drawn to that, and like, you know, I could Luke at Billabong in Shrewsbury, like the homie, like since I was like 10 years old, man, and like
That's love.
yeah.
And that's kind of,
Bro, just like
shit was
always
embedded
got
into
me
your
hooked
brain.
up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and like we like definitely like I think talking about it the first time we shot this was like one of the first times I like really thought about it. But bro, like yeah, that like huge inspiration in terms of just like seeing that as a kid and being like, wow. And like I remember like you know, him and my dad, like they were talking about like, you know, like they're like, you know, franchising from Billabong or whatever. They were like opening, you know, more locations, and he was the son of like the dad who was the owner, so he was opening like his own location, and Pops is gonna handle this one, and like it's just cool like to like see like a like, you know, even as a kid, like he seemed like a young guy to me, and he would talk about, you know, like the Billabong team that like worked at the store, like they go on like surf trips, and like I would see, you know, Coleman like posting about that, and I'd be like, dude, so fucking sick. Like, and like now obviously getting older, and you see like how, you know, skateboard brands and skate teams, they operate, and it's like that on steroids, and like, you know, it's like, and like, you know, how all these, you know, a lot of people get into designing and shit for the wrong reason because they want to live a certain lifestyle. And we could go on about that.
No, we could, but that was fire that you brought it up last time, and I wanted you to hit on that again because you made a point of like talking about fucking Luke at Billabong.
It's my guy.
Like, yeah, so that whether you
I haven't seen him in like 10 years.
Nah, but whether you're aware of it or not, that shit was burned into your subconscious at 10 years old. And
Oh, yeah.
now that you open up, once you had your clothing brand and you open up the store, you're like, just that impression that was made on you from that experience every time you went in, and the fact that you were so excited and looking forward to that, you know, that shopping experience and how it's translated into your own, you know, curated vibe at Greenestone. I think that's cool. Just to see like young Brendan, and just from your point of view, it's like how you must have felt back then to now seeing how you make people feel in your store. I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%. I could also, I remember I walked into Bodega in Boston with my pops when I was like 11, 12.
They're popping now.
Yeah.
Like Bottega boots? Like
No, Bodega.
Oh, I'm thinking about the boots.
Yeah. So Bodega has a store in Boston, and you walk into like their front room, and like from the street, it just looks like, you know, a bodega. Like there's no like there's no branding for like the clothing brand or the anything on the outside of the store.
That's crazy.
And you know, that's like public knowledge, like to like the fans, the locals. But like me, I'm like 11 years old, and I just like saw on Complex, like, you know, when in Boston, you know, these are the spots, and Bodega was on there. But I didn't know that like I didn't. So I'll explain the lore. So you walk in, And like, so I walked past it a couple times because there's no branding on the outside of the store. You walk in, and then it's a convenience store, but it's weird. Like everything on the shelves is like, it says bodega, and it's like, you know, it's like not real like canned goods or not real like beverages or like, you know, it's like branded clearly, but it also like, it's just a small enclosed space, and it's kind of like a waiting room at a dispensary, but it's like a secret kind of. So like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, is this it? Is this not it? And then I'm looking at my dad. We were like, okay, I guess like this isn't the clothing store. This isn't the sneaker store. We found the wrong spot. Someone walks in and walks straight up to the vending machine right next to, there's cash register and a vending machine. The vending machine moves like a sliding door, and like, you know, behind that door is like one of the most beautiful like mahogany shelves with like underglow on each shelf, and like, you know, like shoes sitting on pedestals and like things hanging from the ceiling. And like, you know, especially after that whole rigmarole of being like, wait, we walked past it, wait, are we here? Is this it? I think it's on the other street. Like, wait, and then the fucking vending machine moves, and it's like,
what the hell?
We found it. Like, I look up at my dad, like, Pops, we found it. And like, bro, like, you know, we have some young customers who like, you know, will pull up on their bike and spend like 4 hours in the store, sit on the couch, and like, you know, bro, that's everything to me. Like, you know, I love to have a kid come into my store and feel that way.
Wow.
I don't know, bro. I got no words for that. That's tough. That's tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Appreciate it.
No,
That's deep. It just really goes back to the intention that you guys have, and you know, shout out to that homie from Billabong, because like the little things that you do for people, it's really gonna go a long way.
It's true.
You know, but I mean, with what you guys are building, I think there's such a huge ceiling. I asked this question last time, and you know, I think we have a good opportunity to, you know, kind of execute it, answer it well, because you know, your story, like again, like time and time again, I just reiterate how inspiring it is, you know, and how much you guys have accomplished so fast. But a lot of people that don't know the story don't know what you guys had to work on, you know, before the timing was right and before it was even right to execute, right? Like a perfect timing type of thing. But, you know, I mean, again, you guys, you know, will touch on it, and I don't know if this is the right time to touch on it, you know, a little bit more, kind of like, I know that transition from, you know, before you guys started the store and you guys were actually made that sacrifice, you know, to actually be a part of your business. Like, you know, really, the best way I like it is just being one with your business. Like, some people say, dude, I'm one with my business.
I
mean,
you guys
really, like, became one with it, right?
I think we can clear up what you're trying to talk about. Do you want to do it? It's your turn.
Yeah. You want me to like talk about that?
Yeah. So like a little bit. So
like how
so
we were
the question
homeless.
really, you know, I obviously like, I want you guys to answer the question, and you could talk about it throughout this question, because obviously, like, you guys, you know, there was a struggle between, you know, when the store popped off, you know, when you guys had the idea to when you guys took action to when it actually became something, you know. And then even when it became something, you guys had to make sacrifices, you know, and I think you guys, like, really, you guys were able to achieve a lot that first year. Maybe, I mean, it's safe to say maybe, like, more than what you guys may have anticipated, right? And sometimes when, you know, we have these plans or these dreams, you know, that we trust the universe with or God with, you know, whatever we put our beliefs in, right? You know, it's usually, it's not going to be on our timing. It's going to be on that thing's timing, right?
Sure.
And sometimes it's going to be a lot longer than you expect. But a lot of people don't realize that it could also be a lot sooner than you anticipate, right? You know, so again, you guys could talk about it, but like, you know, the actual question was like, because you guys got so much without actually expecting it. So like, over the course of the next 5 years, right? Like, the question was, where do you guys see Greenestone going, right? I know me and you talked a little bit outside, Brandon. You talked about these sweet spots, right? And, you know, Sawyer, you could touch on it as well. So it is a pretty loaded question, you know, and, you know, I was quiet for a little bit. I'm a loaded guy. I got the loaded questions, right? So, you know, start off with you know, kind of like how you guys, you know, started it and moved in from there, just to give the audience a little bit of preface. And then, you know, kind of end it off with where you see Greenestone, right? Like, just give us, you know, from where it started to where's the end goal.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so, you know, like we said, June 17th, 2024 is when Brendan found the space, called me, let me know. the space was in horrible condition. There was asbestos tile, there was bad carpeting, bad ceilings. Like, we had to do complete demo and reno of Greenstone, and we didn't have the money to, one, hire a team to do it for us, two, to have a place to live on top of this storefront that we're paying, rent on North Main Street. And yeah, so it really was a risk. We came up here, 11 days after June 17th, June 28th. That was my first night in Providence. And yeah, Brendan and I, we slept in the back studio on blow-up air mattresses.
Wow.
Little,
You didn't tell me that. I thought it was couches.
Well, yeah, well,
it started out as air mattresses.
well,
then,
because we didn't. There was nothing in the store at first.
Right.
So like the first night, I'm literally like, it's air mattress, just like, bro, it was creepy the first night. Remember that shit?
Yeah, it was wild, and yeah, from then on, it was just kind of like, our first order of business was like, let's turn this back room into something that's like semi-livable.
Yeah, like a dorm room.
So, I'm sure you'll see videos on the Instagram of us, like, with power, like, it almost looks like a jackhammer, like, kicking up tile. All of that was because that was asbestos and because we were living.
We were planning on living back there, and we could not live back there with asbestos tile.
Yeah, we knew that, we had a tight timeline. We, didn't get any break on rent, especially for the condition that the space should have been in. We should have been given like 8 months free, especially to do all of the stuff that we did in the time that we did it. Shout out to my dad, the fact that he was able to come up that first week, put us on the right track, came up a couple more times while we were building it. He'd FaceTime us, tell us what needed to get done, what we're doing, where we're going wrong. Because, just building the space in and of itself was a learning experience before even trying the business. Like, we did all this, fully expecting no one to show up the first day. Like, we had no idea what was going to happen.
Very true.
It was just kind of like, let's dedicate every day. Let's build this space. Sure, we're homeless. We shower at Planet Fitness every morning. But, like, it's the only way to make our dreams come true, Let's try it. Let's sleep in our cars. Let's sleep on the couch in the back studio, whatever. Like, we're young. We can thug it out. And
like every night that month was crazy, like I definitely we're in that back room, spent all day. Like, this was a typical day is like us waking up, spending all day, like working with insulation and like we're covered in bullshit. And then by the time we get our shit together and go over to Planet Fitness, like it closed early. Wow. So we have to go home and kind of just wipe down in the sink and then kind of just stay up late enough or smoke enough that we fall asleep because it's ridiculously uncomfortable. And those late nights of us just being like, dude, in 15 days we're not just working construction anymore. We have a store and we can get back to it. You know what I mean? So that totally kept us going. Just being dude, we have a month. And obviously, like you said, every time you've came in the store, we've improved along the way, but there was no, we're going to open another month later to just get things polished and perfect. It's we gotta open because rent's due. And it's dude, such a blessing. We did numbers on opening, and that was something that we expected family. Dude, I did
I'm about to say, I might have cried.
I'd cry right now.
Yeah, I might have cried,
bro. Especially when you don't have time. I remember being completely delirious. Sorry, I have my hand in front of my face. I remember being completely delirious the morning of opening. I was up all night. Printing T-shirts because we did construction for 30 days. I didn't even have T-shirts for the showroom, so I was up all night printing shirts so that all these people that maybe were coming could shout out Neutron. Neutron pulled up and treated the store like it was like the supreme opening in Providence. Like, dude, the fact that there were people that pulled up and were stoked, and like, dude, my mom is standing there, bro. You know, like for my mom, who like, you know, obviously our parents, you know, took a gamble on us too. So like to have like all those people like coming into the store, you know, like first day just off rip because they watched us build it on social media, and then like, you know, like my mom, you know, my mom's like, yo, like you got customers, like you gotta like, you know, and then my parents are just like, all right, like, you know, we're gonna head out, like because bro, it was getting like we had to like focus on the desk, we had to just like run thing, like it was crazy how like it actually like we were just a store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
and
crazy.
It was obvious that Providence was ready, you know, based on the fact that opening day, so many people showed us love. Like, you know, we paid that next month of rent off that first weekend.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, it was awesome. And just like to dedicate so much time, like you said, blood, sweat, and tears, literally, bro. Like, you know, you're sweating your ass off after a full day of manual labor and you can't shower. Like, you'll drive yourself insane. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
It's brutal, and, you know, covered in insulation, cut up, whatever, you know, taking that risk, putting in that pain, and then, like, you know, drilling the sign in opening day, like, ourselves, all that stuff. And then next thing you know, like, there's random people in the shop who are so hyped, and they're like, yo, I've been following you guys this past month, like, so excited that it opened, all this shit. You know, like, to us, it was like, I felt like we were just posting into the void. Like, nothing seemed real, literally.
100%. Like, especially, like, 100%.
Literally nothing seemed real. It just seemed like every day we were waking up, doing this stuff, going to bed, waking up, doing the same thing. And it was like, literally because we knew, one, this was our dream, but more so than anything, we had a lease signed, and we knew that, you know, big money was due coming up. And it was like, you know, we're already dumping all of our money into the renovations and into demo and into all this. It was like, we need to start selling stuff. And so that was definitely like a worry at first, and like very quickly, you know, the community left us not worried because they showed so much love that first weekend.
Yeah, bro. And like the fact that we were able to, like, you know, after not spending much time focusing on, you know, like Greenestone, we were focusing, you know, we were construction workers for a month. And then the fact that we were able to kind of like look at each other after that weekend and be like, dude, like, we do this shit full, like, we do this like now. You know what I mean? Like, that shit was fantastic, bro. And, you know, like, shit wasn't sweet from there, you know, like, you gotta, like, be willing to, like, pack up the store. And, like, you know, we learned that, like, you can run a pop-up and make, like, you know, $1,000 or make, like, you know, make rent at a pop-up, you know. So, like, you gotta be willing to, like, you know, store is slow, you gotta be willing to pack up the whole store into the back of the Tacoma and just fucking, you know, do pop-ups all around the city. We're passing out stickers, and, you know, now, you know, we're definitely in much more of like a comfortable place where we have an apartment now. We're not living in the store anymore.
No longer homeless, yeah.
We're not showering at Planet Fitness anymore.
But at the same time, you know, it's business, it's retail, it ebbs and it flows. Especially, you know, like winter months, it's like, sure, we had that little pop-off in the summer, but then very quickly it gets super cold up here, and, you know, people don't want to leave their house when it's cold. So you got to constantly be trying to incentivize people. Why do you want to come down here? Like you said, how do we get people in the store even if it's a torrential downpour out or if it's, you know, 32 below? Mm-hmm. Like, got to be consistently coming up with things. And like Brendan said, you know, it can still be a struggle. You know, it's business goes up and down, and you just got to keep at it for real.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
I feel that.
Yeah, just keeping on. So I mean, I think this is a perfect segment. So I mean, how do you guys, like, you know, in that, how do you guys balance like the passion and the profitability? Like, you know, you got to make money, you got to run the business. You're also doing something you really love. You want to give back to the community. I know you talked a little bit sometimes about like the journeys you take to, like, you know, be able to source the right materials and, you know, the right pieces. You know, so kind of how do you guys balance that, you know, to be able to still sustain the business and, you know, do what you guys love?
Yeah, I'd say, you know, in terms of vintage and the secondhand side of things, you know, I'm sourcing every single day, whether that be on a small scale, just going to thrift stores, or whether that's, you know, one week, you know, in May, 1 week in July, 1 week in September, going to Brimfield in Massachusetts, flea market. You know, we're driving down to Atlanta next week. We're going to do a ton of sourcing down south because I went to college in Clemson, so I know lots of places down there to get clothes. You know, it's always looking for where we can find stuff of value where the price makes sense for us at the start and it makes sense for the buyer at the end too. You know, sure, the line can get blurred sometimes, especially the fact that this is our passion and we love fashion and clothing. You know, sometimes I find myself, you know, being satisfied even if I didn't sell anything in a day, you know, just because a bunch of dope people showed up to the store and I had good interactions with them and good conversations.
Right.
And, you know, maybe nothing sold, but like I still feel like I made a positive in my life, or I made, you know, something new happen, or made a new connection, or at least met one new person. You know, I can confidently say that a new person walks in the store every day. So even if someone isn't buying something each day, like the passion is so much more important than the profit for me, because it's like you can make money back in any way. I'll fucking DoorDash if I need to. Like Brennan has said many times, you know, like we're not afraid to go lay someone's flooring because we learned how to do that when building our space to make extra money if it really comes down to that. Because it's like we built this community, we built this space, we know we have provided something to Providence and the greater New England area for the past year. We can't slow down with that. If anything, we got to do it bigger. We got to do it cheaper. We got to do it, you know, in ways where it's more accessible for more and more and more people. Like I said, we don't want to be exclusive. We don't want anyone to walk in and feel like, you know, they can't have a good time or they can't afford something in the store that's dope, you know?
Wow, no, that's powerful.
I think on Sawyer's side, like Sawyer said, it's really about like we know our margins. I know my margins. So that gives us the ability to, like, you know, when we can give back to the community, like we're still very aware of our margins. Like, you know, there's no like, you know, obviously we can, you know, anything that we're like running a big sale on and like you know, we're still like doing very well because it's like this is a volume game at the end of the day. It's better gone than, you know, sitting on our rack.
Right.
And like as long as we're able to like still work within those margins, like, and like, you know, there's a lot that we can do, you know, and a lot of people are more worried about getting that extra 25 or that extra 50, especially being such a new store, you know, being able to work with people on price. Because Sawyer's so aware of margins on every piece, like, you know, those people are coming back 100%.
Exactly.
It's like, you know, perfect example, like the other day, you know, somebody walks in, yo, could you do X price on this? And Sawyer looks at him, he goes, is it your first time in the store? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, absolutely. Wow. And it's like that, you know, that's it right there. And with what you were asking about, like passion and business, I think, you know, with me and Greenworks and what I produce, it's definitely like something I think about a lot for sure, because I'm not going to cater to, I want to put out shit that I want to wear. Like Greenworks is very appropriately named after myself because that's what it is. It's Green's works. It's things that Green made. It's things that, like, you know, you could see me in 25 years just using the Greenworks account to like show off like old dusty ceramics that I'm making in like a log cabin in the woods. Like you never know what the fuck I'm gonna be doing. on that account. But like for right now, I'm making clothes, and like, you know, like I'm not here to, you know, I do customs like within the framework of our brand. You know, like if I'm not gonna make you something that doesn't fit with our brand, and also like I'm not gonna just do like a cyber sigilism screen print because like that's what's hot right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just gonna do like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, like just try to fit in. It doesn't
Yeah,
it's,
like
not everything is about, you know, following trends. If anything, we're kind of trying to break that stigma, I think, with the brand and with the space in general, you know, trying to reinvent what a retail space can be,
Right.
what a high-end clothing store can be. You know, you're used to rude people. We're going to be the opposite of that.
100%.
It comes down to every different little aspect of each business that makes up Greenestone, you know?
For sure. And with you know, with my brand, I try to put as much of my like, you know, Greenworks. I try to like, you know, tell stories with our pieces, tell stories with the brand, tell stories with our collections. You know, if you look at any of our screen prints, if you bring a T-shirt up to me that we've printed in our store and ask me, you know, what the meaning of the print is, I can give you like a 10-minute explanation about each one. Like these are all very like, you know, like there's a print that involves our cat. That's an actual picture of our cat, but also it says "Have you seen him?" which is a reference from an old Powell Peralta skate video, like one of the very first skate videos ever made with Tony Hawk, Lance Mountain, and the Search of Animal Chin is the movie. And then, you know, like Sock Monkey shirt, like my mom's always had sock monkeys around the crib, on the windowsills, in the bedrooms, like they were everywhere. You know, like I have a Caps for Sale T-shirt, which is right after the, you know, I drew it up in inspiration from the children's book, Caps for Sale. Heat Miser T-shirt, you should know about that.
That shit's a banger.
You know, all these things are homages to my family, my mom, my story. You know, if you're an artist and you're someone that makes things, that all you have is your eye, your vision. You're here to, you know, show your unique perspective. All you have as an artist is your unique perspective. And, you know, it's not like I, you know, like grew up in the trenches or anything. I'm not here to claim that. I'm here to tell my story authentically. I'm here to, you know, pull things from my childhood, use a pattern that my grandfather really liked to wear, or, you know, like I'm here to bring things in that mean something to me and hope that they resonate with others.
That was perfectly well said.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I don't know. You guys are just, your story's amazing. There's so much to each of you, like individually, and the fact that you guys have come together and built something entirely different. Like, yes, both of your individual brands are coexisting, and not coexisting, are thriving within the umbrella that is Greenestone. But there's just so much to like unpack with you guys through your expertise with designing, vintage, you know, you finding your finds, the business side of stuff, the story, you fucking sleeping in the back of your store for 6 months. It's just so much to talk about.
7.
My apologies. No, but dead ass, bro. Like you gotta get this shit right, because and that's like, you told me this back in February when I was already fucking with you. We were shooting the videos for your brand. We were already homies. We'd already talked about the pod. I'd already been to the store half a dozen times, and like you told me that, you were like, yeah, we didn't really tell anybody. We were keeping it low, but like we just got an apartment last month, but we were sleeping in the back of the store for the first 7 months. And like it didn't click to me, but it made sense, because like you guys are fresh out of college. Yeah. Both, you know, with businesses that you would establish for the last 2 or 3 years, but like you guys aren't fucking balling. So like a store on North Main, I can only imagine how expensive it is. So like the fact that you're like, we moved to a whole different state, we don't have family to stay with, how can we afford a North Main Street retail space as well as an apartment
and a place to sleep? Exactly.
I'm like, what the? I'm like, I didn't even think about that shit.
Yeah, we just can't. Yeah, we just didn't.
Even to your point, the cat's never in the store anymore, because you guys now keep him at the crib. But like every time I went in, the cat was there, and it makes sense now, because like, where else is he gonna be?
He was living there too.
You know what I'm saying? He was living with us. Just chilling, bro. I'm cool, bro. But I think there's a lot more to talk about. There's a couple things I definitely want to hit on, but just because the cameras are going to run out of battery and storage in like 6 minutes, we have to bring y'all back. I want to touch on, I want you guys next time to touch upon like, and you really just like, this is a great place for us to end because you talked about just like staying true to yourself, being authentic, just like, it's what like, in my mind, at its very core is like, what is Greenestone? And kind of like just what you embodied as a designer and an artist is kind of like what I feel encapsulates Greenestone and the community you guys are trying to create, is that like you guys just like are just y'all. Like you walk in and it's just like Brendan and Sawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just you.
Absolutely,
Like even
yeah.
the people that are there, like to his point, Justice, that was the first time I met him. You know, he's like, yeah, I've been coming here for like a fucking year. Yeah. I'm like, you don't work here, you don't get paid to be here. Like you just fuck with the guys. Ant was here 3 months ago. He did an interview with me. That was the first time I met him. But I think I talked to you about that prior, about how he sets up shop at Greenestone every Thursday, and that's kind of like his home base. It's just like, at the end of the day, the thing that makes y'all different is just, it's y'all, like through and through. Like you guys have created, like you're not the only vintage store in Rhode Island or in the States. You're not the only designer that's making their own prints and putting patchwork together. I mean, I didn't pull up, but you just said Steel Toe Tim.
Yeah,
this past weekend or 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, shout out to Tim 2 weekends ago.
Tim pulled up from New York.
Fire.
Yes, sir.
You know, you said that was somebody you've like admired and you respect their work, but from outside looking in, you seem like his craftsmanship is in the similar lane as you when it comes to like the patchwork. And again, you're each gonna have your own unique spins on it, but like my point is that physically what you guys are doing and what you're selling, you're not the only ones doing it. And obviously your art is unique to you, everything you do is unique to you, but like what makes you guys different is your ethos. You know, and I think you guys, we kind of hit it on the nail today, is like your heavy stress on creating a community. Like this is not a store. Obviously we have to make money to pay our rent and to be able to give back to the community, grow in scale so we can, you know, reach more communities, reach different communities, but like your stress point, you know, your key foundation of who or what makes Greenestone is like, we want kids to come in and kick it for 4 hours.
Yeah, we want to put on for the city.
We want to be Luke from Billabong. We want to be that point in the city. We want to be that, you know, what's the word you use, bro? That
safe haven, bro.
Safe haven, just that spot, that landmark.
Destination
spot. The destination where people can pull up and eat their sandwich. People can pull up and chop it up. You don't have to buy anything. It's just like, he said it last time, it's like you can pull up to that store and almost find yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you can pull up and just...
I really appreciated you saying that last time.
And like that was super powerful because just even pulling up and talking to you guys, if you just talking to y'all and just hearing your story, it's like that lit a fire under me, and I'm already like, I'm motivated, I'm pretty disciplined, I got my own shit going, but just like hearing what y'all did for the first 7 months, it's like what the like people aren't doing that shit, and the fact that I'm able to like pull up on y'all any day of the week and just I can have the connection with you guys, and just the fact that that's what you guys went through to get to where you are today. It's inspiring. It's beautiful. It's something that I don't know anybody else who's put in that kind of pain like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know people, like I've put in pain for my business. He's done the same thing. We've all been through our trials and tribulations, but like that, you guys ate dog shit.
Nah, for sure.
Going to sleep covered in asbestos and insulation. That's a different, you know what I'm saying? Like
Bro, trust me, I do know what you're saying. It was
so
fucking.
Like, I'm trying to articulate it. No, but like, you guys know what I'm saying more than I do. But I just like y'all are dope. That's like at the end of the day, like I love what you guys got going on.
Appreciate
That's
you, brother.
We had to make this happen. We're gonna continue to make it happen, and hopefully, this is just the beginning of something awesome. Again, I want to be able to collaborate with you guys, and
so much more coming, bro, for sure.
And so we definitely got to bring y'all back 6 months, you know what I'm saying? Check up again, get those questions of how Greenstone's doing, because, bro, in a year you guys have built something crazy. So at the rate you're moving in 6 months, who knows? Maybe Greenstone number 2 is open.
Let's see.
Some shit, or maybe it's in the works.
You could definitely expect Greenstone number 2 within the next, 3 to 5.
No, I expect it too.
3 to 5, no doubt.
But with that being said, what do y'all want to leave the people with? Any words of wisdom?
I'd say, I said this last time, I'm going to leave it with a Jim Carrey quote. I'm going to say, if you're not willing to, sacrifice like 6 months, 7 months, a year of your life and be uncomfortable to give yourself the lifestyle that you want for the rest of your life, then you don't want it bad enough.
Amen.
It's
Sawyer?
facts. Yeah, if I could leave you guys with one thing. This might be something that I actually learned, I want to say, from Joey a year ago when we met. It's collaboration over competition always.
Yes,
with
sir.
us, with Providence, with the whole Greenestone family as a whole. We're not looking to compete. We're not looking to be exclusive. We're looking to collaborate. We're looking to network. We're looking to build something and, put Providence on the map because,
Because Providence put us on the map.
exactly. And, there's 4 talented individuals sitting in front of you right now. I promise you there's hundreds on thousands more in this city
Yes,
that
sir.
we'd love to, help boost up
Collaborate
too.
with.
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had some wonderful guests on today, man. Gave us some crazy value. The key to living is giving. So appreciate you guys for giving us your attention. We gave you guys some value. Loved us to hated us. You stayed till the end, and we made you listen. So peace, baby.
She said, you ain't no good, but you feel so good. She said, what if I could, but I gotta leave you.